Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a little bit of time since I've posted anything. I just recently got back to posting over on Threads and Instagram, and this is because I went away on vacation and I knew the week leading into vacation was going to be a little bit busy, and then it got super hectic. I've been doing some job interviews because I wanted some part-time work while I'm at school, which I know adds even more to my plate, but bills need to be paid. So I thankfully got a job offer, which was really exciting, but that just was a whole whirlwind of things that I had to do and get done before I left. And being on vacation, I just wanted to enjoy it and took a bit of a social media break and cleanse, which was really needed. And now I am back. I'm ready. I'm in a new routine. I have like my work schedule and my school schedule and all my school stuff and my YouTube and social media content planned, so hopefully we can stay on schedule and on track now that I am back at home. This video is going to be a wrap-up of all the books that I read in the month of February, as well as my TBR for March, which Instagram helped me choose this month, which was so much fun. So let's wrap up all the books that I read in February. I have my Fable open here with the books that I read this month. To wrap up February, here are my reading stats. I read 12 books this month, which was a really good reading month for me. Again, because I went on vacation for a week, I had a lot of time to read. So I definitely got a couple of extra books in here than I normally would. I started listening to audiobooks this month, so I incorporated that into my routine. Or audiobooks are something that I've never really enjoyed listening to, but I really tried to give it a shot this month and use Libby to get some audiobooks from my library, and I found I really liked it, and I kind of speed through a lot of books on audiobook because I'll put them on while I'm getting ready in the morning and while I'm cooking. I really have been enjoying audiobooks, which means I also get more books read. Starting off, I read Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, and this is my least favorite in the Throne of Glass series. This one was really painful for me to get through. I don't want to give too many spoilers because obviously this is a book, a part of a long-standing series, but I really didn't enjoy this one. I'm not sure if I would have enjoyed it more tandem reading it, but I really didn't like this one. I have nothing more to say on it other than I only rated it 3.25 stars. Next, I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which I rated 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I was wondering whether it was one of those ones that just gets overhyped because so many people talk about it, but it absolutely wasn't. I loved this. I loved the characters. I loved the world building in this, even though it definitely was more character study focused in this book. I loved the idea of the magical typewriters and just the subtle fantasy elements throughout this one, and the romance was so good. I cannot recommend this one enough. I absolutely loved it and really started off the month strong. I then immediately went into Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which I rated 4 stars, and I had to immediately go into this one because Divine Rivals left off on such a cliffhanger. I had to know what happened next. I literally went to the bookstore the same day and picked up a copy because I knew I wanted to have both physical copies in my collection. So I really enjoyed Ruthless Vows. It definitely wasn't quite as good as Divine Rivals, but as a duology, I felt like it was a pretty strong duology and overall really loved it. Next, I finished reading Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I read this for my book club, which if you aren't part of my Fable book club and you want to be, we are currently about to start our next read for March, which I will put up on the screen because I'm not 100% because I'm pre-filming this and I don't know what the final vote is, but I'll put it on the screen as to what we're reading. If you are interested in reading along, seeing my insights every single chapter, then I post all of that into the Fable book club. I rated this a 4.25 stars. This book took me by surprise. I wasn't really sure how I was going to like it or what I was going to think of it, but overall really enjoyed this one. It explores women's relationships with each other, women's relationships with other people in their life, the relationship between sisters, and the process and journey of grief for a variety of different people in this story and how they support and also harm each other through it. And it was very realistic. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, these people and characters in this book felt so real, and I think Coco does such a great job of making you feel really immersed and it feeling really real and raw, and it really added to the power of the entire story, and I cannot recommend this book enough. Next, I read Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. I rated this a 4 stars. I overall really like this one. I obviously didn't like it as much as Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but it was a good follow-up and it was still interesting, really captivating. You're continuing to follow characters that you already know and love, which is always comforting, and I'm excited to read the next one in the series. Next was my first audiobook. I listened to The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley on Libby, and this was my first Lucy Foley book. I rated it 3.25 stars. I was really enjoying this until like the last 25%. I got so confused as to like what was happening. I felt like the plot lost the plot. I was really confused by the end of this one. I had to like look up the like analysis for the end of the book because I got so confused. There were so many times I had to like back up and be like, wait a second, like I feel like I missed something. So the ending of this book was kind of confusing, but it did keep me hooked throughout. So overall, I enjoyed it. Next, I read Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. I recorded this for another video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, and also don't want to give spoilers because Throne of Glass is obviously a really popular series and this is the last book in it, but I did rate it 5 stars. And that's what I will say on that. Okay, sorry, I had to adjust the camera because I was sitting on my feet and that was not a smart idea because my feet started falling asleep and I was getting really uncomfortable. So next I read The Orphanage by the Lake by Daniel G. Miller. I decided to pick this one up. It was on Kindle Unlimited because I had such a bad book hangover after Kingdom of Ash. It was unreal. Like I could not focus on any other book, and I like started and stopped reading so many books in between Kingdom of Ash and The Orphanage by the Lake, but I stuck with this one because it was a really quick, interesting thriller and it really captivated me and kept me hooked throughout. I gave it a 3.75. It was nothing special. I didn't think that the plot twists were really plot twisty because I kind of predicted what was going to happen, but it was overall an entertaining read. I then listened to the audiobook of Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Again, my first Alice Feeney book, which I was excited about. I rated this a 3.25 stars. I enjoyed this one, but again, it was kind of a weird one. I don't know, I felt really kind of stuck in a loop with the characters. It felt very repetitive, but it was still interesting and kept me hooked. I listened through the whole thing and it was overall pretty good. I then read City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards because I kept seeing people posting about this one and I felt FOMO, so I felt like I had to read this one. I gave it a 4.25 stars. It was a really, really good fantasy. I knew I was going to like it because people said if you liked Crescent City, you were going to like this one because it's a similar genre and follows a similar idea where there's like a murder and you have to sort of follow along and figure out what's going on. I overall really, really enjoyed this one. I am looking forward to picking up the next book in this series. Next up, I listened to the audiobook of The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I rated this a 3.5 stars because I did enjoy this more than The Midnight Feast. I felt this had stronger characters in it. The ending, again, still really confused me. I don't know why with Lucy's writing. I feel like it's so strong and so interesting right up until the end, and then the end just gets so muddled and confusing. One, I think she's trying to put too many like plot twists and connections in, like too many of the characters connected together to a point where it was like, okay, this is like a little unrealistic and ridiculous, but it was still really entertaining all the way through to the end. And last but not least, I finished The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden because I needed a little bit of a break from City of Gods and Monsters. Was a pretty heavy fantasy, so I needed a little bit of a break from a longer book. I wanted something quick and easy that I could finish, and I rated this 3.75. This was definitely one of Frida's books that I really enjoyed, a lot more than some of her other ones. I found this one to be really captivating through to the end. I sort of had a bit of an idea about the plot twist that was going to happen in this one, but I still really, really like this one. So that wraps up all the books that I read in the month of February. Okay, moving on to the TBR portion of this video. My Instagram helped me choose my March TBR. So I posted a bunch of stories on my Instagram with the book covers colored over with some emojis that I felt like represented the books. And I did 3 sets of physical books and then 2 sets of Kindle books so that I had a bit of variety. So I put 5 books on my TBR because this was what I had done from my last TBR, and I think part of the problem was that I picked too many physical books and I knew I was going to be on vacation and was only bringing my Kindle with me, so I ended up with a lot of Kindle reads from last month as well as a lot of audiobooks because I got into audiobooks. So this month I'm only limiting my physical TBR to 3 books and then my Kindle TBR to 2 so that I have a little more flexibility because live and you learn, and it was my first month ever picking a TBR for myself because normally I just read based on vibes. So let's get into it. The first poll that I posted was between The God of the Woods by Liz Moore and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm giving this another shot. For those of you that don't know, I tried to read this and DNF'd it. I got so confused at the beginning, but I'm willing to give it another try because I do love Leigh Bardugo's other work. So I'm determined to want to at least read through this, but I will DNF it if I'm not enjoying it again. So I posted the poll on this one. So for God of the Woods, I picked a tree, a heart, and a tent. And then for Ninth House, I picked a snake, a graduation cap, and a magnifying glass. And God of the Woods won by 63%. So we are adding God of the Woods by Liz Moore to my TBR. I've heard so many mixed things about this, but I'm really excited. My brother got this for me for Christmas, and I'm really interested to see where this one goes. Next up, the first one I got from a blind date with books, and it's called I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. Judging by the summary, this one's kind of a sad one, but I wanted to add it on because I have it on my physical TBR. And then I also have The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chosky. I hope I'm saying that right. My friend gifted this to me for Christmas. It was a blind date with books as well, so that's why I kind of paired these 2 books against each other. And this is a fantasy. I'm secretly hoping for this one because the other one I think is gonna make me cry. But for I Let You Go, I picked a broken heart, rain, and a seashell because I think it takes place on a beach. And then for The Gilded Wolves, I picked a wolf, a green heart, and then some swords. And I Let You Go won. It won by 55%, which I am a little intimidated and scared by, but hopefully we get to this one because it's been on my TBR for a little while now. Would like to get it off of my TBR. Next up, I put A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon up against Light Lark by Alex Astor. My boyfriend got me this special edition version for me when I went down and saw him from Barnes. And let's see. For A Day of Fallen Night, I put a dragon, a crown, and a mountain. And then for Light Lark, I put a crown, a heart, and a palm tree. And it looks like A Day of Fallen Night has won by 60%, which also is scary. I have a lot of scary books on my TBR this month because this is such a chunky read. So I'm a little nervous and intimidated by this, but I've heard nothing but good things about this and the Priory of the Orange Tree. So I'm excited to delve into this world and give it a go. Next, we have some Kindle picks. So we have Quicksilver versus Serpent of the Wings of Night. So for Quicksilver, I picked a silver heart, a fish, because I think the main character's name is Kingfisher, and a butterfly. And then we have Serpent of the Wings of Night. So obviously I chose a snake, a wing, and then a vampire because I think there's vampires in this book. And Quicksilver won by 55%. And I am interested to pick this one up. Again, so many people have talked about this one and I am interested to see what it's like. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not based on what other people have said, but I'm willing to give it a go. And last but not least, for my last TBR pick for Kindle, I have The Cruel Prince versus the Book of Azrael. So The Cruel Prince, I had a crown, a fairy, and a yellow heart. And then I had for Book of Azrael a black heart, a skull, and a door. And Book of Azrael won by 60%, which I'm really excited about because a lot of people have said nothing but amazing things about this one and the series. So I'm really excited to dive into this. That is a wrap on February and my March TBR. And I have some really exciting videos coming in the month of March that I have planned and have been working really hard on. So I hope that you guys hit the like button and subscribe down below to be notified when I come out with new videos. I appreciate everybody's support so tremendously over on this channel. I love sharing my thoughts about books and just having books as a hobby to be able to talk about with people and connect with and have community with is so incredible. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a lovely day. I will see you guys next week.